Hello students and welcome back for Machine Design 2 lecture series. So today we will start a new topic that is belt design. So related theory will be covered in this lecture. I will share my screen. Okay, in this theory lecture we will discuss that is a new model which is beginning now. So design of belt and chain drives, that is a new topic name. And out of that, we will first discuss about the different type of belt drives. It contains flat belt and V belt. So in the basic introduction, normally the belts are used to transmit power from one shaft to another shaft by means of pulley, which rotate at the same speed or at a different speed. The amount of power to be transmitted it's depend upon following four factors. First one is the velocity of belt. Second, the tension under which the belt is placed in the pulleys. So it's nothing but the pulley belt tension. The arc of contact between the belt and the smaller pulley. As the arc of contact is greater, the power transmission will be more. The condition under which the belt is used, it means the environmental conditions. It could be in a too cold location, normal location, uh, in a rainy location, or the water containment also plays an important role. So based on the environmental conditions, the life of the belt can be varied. So the condition under which the belt is working or drive is working is also an important parameter or factor. We should know that the shaft should be properly in line to ensure the uniform tension across the belt section so that the angle of arc will be increased and the tension can be maintained properly. Otherwise, the fluctuations in the uh, operation will be carried out. Second one, the pulley should not be too close together. In order to that, the arc of contact on the smaller pulley may be as large as possible. Okay. Generally, the belt drives flat belt is used more than the 1 or 2 meter, and the um V-built is generally used for near about to 1 meter. So that much distance is needed to appropriate getting the arc of contact. Next one, the pulley should not be so far apart as to cause the belt is weight heavily on the shaft, thus the increasing in the friction load on the bearings. Okay. In previous point, it should not be too much close, and this point it should not be too much away from each other. That is called as the center distance between two pulleys should not be too much high, too much low. Okay, so if it increases the shaft rather than the shaft, the bearing can sense the weight of belt, because of that elongation the bending will be occurred inside the belt. Next one, the long band tends to swing from side to side, causing the belt to run out the pulleys, which is turn develops a crux spot in the belt. So as I said, as the distance is too much high, the bending belt start what I can say bending. So the tension in between these two pulleys are difficult to maintain, and because of that improper tension, the swinging or movement of the belt can be occur, and because of that, it could be run out, or you can say away from the pulley. Next one, the tight side of the belt should be at the bottom so that whatever the slag is present on the loose side will be increase the arc of contact at the pulley end. In order to obtain a good result with the flat belts, the maximum distance between the shaft should be 10 meter and minimum distance should be 3.5 meter, uh, or 3.5 times of the diameter of the larger pulley. Okay, this is an empirical relation, you can say, so that you can, based on the diameter of the larger pulley, you can find out the minimum distance and maximum distance. Maximum distance is already given, that is a 10 meter, and these are normally used for conveying system, that much distance for power transmission as well as conveyor system. Now, how could select a belted drive? That should be some specific factors or parameters. Based on that, you need to select the belt drive. First one is the speed of driving and driven shaft. Second, the speed reduction ratio. Third one is the power to be transmitted. Fourth one is the center distance between the shafts. Fifth, positive drive requirement. Then shaft layout, that is called as the spacing. Again, it is related to center distance between the shaft based on that also, and the positioning also. Then space available, then service condition. So these are the few important parameters. Based on that, we need to identify the appropriate belt drive. I will tell you an example. We know that flat belt drive, V belt drive, time belt drive, then circular belt. These are the different types of belt drives, and that could be used with a different application, different perspective. It is not, if we consider simpler watch. In a watch, previously they are using V belt drive because the distance between two pulleys are very less, so that they are using belt strap. Nowadays, to increase the accuracy, we are using gears, as it contains very less distance between two meeting gears. Okay, now in another way, when you find out the timing belt in a scooters. Okay, actually it is a belt drive in a scooter to transmit the power from engine to wheel. There are two types of belts are used generally. Like first one is a V belt and second one is a timing belt. Okay, so the power transmission ratio, or you can say the speed ratio, is different for both. So depend upon these factors, we should identify the appropriate drive, or you can say belt drive or belt drive. Okay, so let's see types of belt drive. First one is a classification is based on the three groups: light drives, then medium drive, and heavy drive. Now these drives are again based on how we can identify the light drive. These are used to transmit small power at the belt speed of above 10 meter per second in agricultural machine or small machine tools. Here we have given the range as well as the applications. Now medium drives. These are used to transmit medium power as a build speed over the 10 meter per second, but it should not be exceed 22 meter per second, which is we can use in machine tool applications. Third one, heavy drive. These are used to transmit larger power at the build speed ups above the 22 meters per second as in a compressor or generator because it's a high speed machines. Now type of belts as we discussed just before that there is a flat belt, V belt, circular belt. Okay, so according to the shape of belt there is a type of belt. So let's see. So there are many types of belt which is used in nowadays. Okay, so few are written over here. First one is a flat belt. You can see in figure number E. It is which is mostly used in factories and workshop where the moderate amount of power to be transmitted from which is transmitted from one pulley to another pulley when two pulleys are near about 8 meter apart from each other. Okay, then and then only we can use a flat belt. In B, figure number 1B, you can see V-wheel drive. V-wheel drive is mostly used in a factory and workshop where the great amount of power is to be transmitted from one pulley to another pulley. The distance between the pulleys are nearer to each other. You can look this kind of power transmission system in lathe machine drive also. Next one is a circular or can say rope built. These are mostly used in factories and workshop where the great amount of power to be transmitted from one pulley to another pulley more than 8 meters apart. So these are the three types and the locations, or you can say the center distance between two pulleys also mentioned over here. If the huge amount of power is to be transmitted, then a single belt drive cannot be sufficient. So we need to go with the multiple drive. Okay. In such cases, wide pulleys, or you can say for belt drive and circular pulley, the number of grooves can be increased. If you look at the flat belt drive, there are no grooves. Okay, but in V belt and circular belt, there are grooves. So if you increase the grooves, it can be increase the number of uh, belts so that the power loss can be reduced. Okay, then each groove provide to transmit a required amount of power from one pulley to another pulley. A simple example, if we are transmitting power 8 kilowatt with a single V filter, so total 8 kilowatt power could be transferred by that belt only. If we increase the groove number of grooves and increase the number of belts, for example, if you do it with the two grooves are engraved, so two belt are there, so each belt contain 4 kilowatt power. Okay, so it should be transmit 4 kilowatt as we need to transmit 8 kilowatt, so it could be divided and the life of belt gate also increases. So in this manner it works. So generally in lesser distance, if power to be transmitted more, we will is suitable, and the higher distance the power to be transmitted more, at that time circular belt is suitable, but we need to increase the number of grooves. Now most important segment, that is the material to be used. There is a timing belt also, which can be used in most of the two wheelers. Now, with discussing about the materials, it should be having some desirable characteristics. Okay, so that it can be withstand very easily, or you can say very properly. So few characteristics which need to be, or properties which need to be considered while selecting the materials. First one, it should have a high coefficient of friction, then very high flexibility, it should be strong enough, then durability, and the strength is, it must have a high strength. So based on the material used in a belts, there are different materials which are used. We will see one by one. First one is the leather belt, or material is a leather which is used for manufacturing the belt. The most important material which could be used in a flat belt drive is the leather. The best leather belts are made from 1.2 meters to 1.5 meters. That much the long strip is cut in either side of backbone of the top grade street hides. You can look at the figure number one, where the higher side and the direction of motion has to be shown. The higher side of the leather is smoother and harder than the flesh side. So higher side, which is nothing but in a contact, and the upper side, you can say flesh side, which is open to the environment. But the flesh side is also stronger. The fibers are on the higher side are perpendicular to the surface, while those of the flesh side are the interwoven and parallel to the surface. Therefore, uh, this region of higher side of the belt should be in a contact with the pulley surface, which is shown in figure number 2. This gives more intimate contact between the belt and pulley and places the greatest tension strength of the belt section on the outside. Where the tension is maximum as the belt passes over the pulley. So when you consider cross section of the layer, I can say the inner side is always in a compressive strength, or you can say the stresses occurred at inner fiber is a compressive one, and outer fiber is a tension one. So failure or crack propagation could be occur in outer side. So the outer side must be more strengthened than the inner side. The leather may be either oak tanned or minor salt tan. Example, chrome tan. In order to increase the thickness of the belt, the strips are cemented together. So the number of layers can be cemented together. The belts are specified. The belts. The number of layers should be appropriate because it is totally depend upon the type of load which can be carried. For example, the single load which can be used for lightweight, double load which can be used for moderate, and a triple layer or multiple plies. You can say rather the number of layers is called as a ply. So single ply, double ply, and triple ply according to the light, medium, and heavyweight. Okay, so these are the if we want to transfer heavy uh, load, we need to go for multiple ply. The leather belt must be periodically cleaned and dressed or treated with the compound and dressing containing neat food. or either suitable oil so that the belt will be remain soft and flexible. If it is get hardened because of heat generation, it could be reduce its strength, so that we accordingly we need to um, take care of the belt. Next one is a cotton. Most of the fabric belts are made by folding canvases or a cotton duck, to three or more than three layers, depending upon the thickness we decide, and the stitching together so that it can be create a thickened belt. So these belts are wound also into the strips of desired width and thickness. So they are impregnated with some filter like linseed oil in order to make the belt should be in order to do the belt is waterproof, and it can prevent the injury in the fabrics. The cotton belts are less cost, or you can say cheaper, and which can be suitable in a warm climates, in damp atmosphere, and in exposed positions. Okay, where it is directly exposed with the environment. In such kind of conditions, this kind of fabricated or cotton belts are mostly used. Since the cotton belts required little attention, therefore these belts are mostly used in a farm machinery belt conveyors. So we have to periodically the maintenance could be considered, or you can say we need to periodically check whether the fabric is tiered or not. Okay, so the machinery like farm machineries, where if the belt is get uh, failed, or can say cut, then there is no harm to the whole system. So in such thing, in such applications, we can use the belt conveyor. Also in a conveyor system, we are using such fabric belts because we are using a different variety of material which are going to be conveyed. So the proper grip between the component and the belt can be done, and only for that these fabric belts or cotton belts are plays a very important role. Okay, because it can properly grip give the grips and the friction which is desired. Next material is a rubber belt. The rubber belt are made of the layers of fabricated impregnate um with the rubber compositions, and have a thin layer of rubber on the face. These belts are very flexible but are quickly destroyed if they can allow come in contact with the heat, oil, and gas. As it material is rubber, so it is definitely volatile with the temperature. The temperature variation is very much effective on the rubber belt, but it very less effective on the leather and fabric belt. So on the principal advantage of these belts, that they may be easily made endless. Okay, so we can use normally rubbers with a circular, which is not what can say endless one. So these were made, these builds we can directly made endless and directly install over the um, pulleys. So these builds are normally found with the saw mills, paper mills, where they are exposed to the moisture. Okay, so exposed to the moisture means it is in that there the dirt and moisture is much more in a sawmill and a pepper mill. Okay, but another factors, for example, heat, oil, grease. So these are the parameters which could not be touched to that bed. Okay, so Thus, in such applications where it is not actually used, that is a heating process and all the things. In paper mills, normally the process, the or you can say the grains of the material can be used, or you can say grains of wood can be used, and they are placed in a particular manner, and the layers has been generated, and after that they will going to um, going for drying purpose. So these different processes are there. In a sawmill, we are using directly used for the cutting the woods, and here obviously the moisture contents are more. In paper mills also, the moisture contents are more. So in that kind, to do the waterproofing process, or you can say to avoid the moisture which is come in contact and reduce the strength of the build. In this segment, it can be used. Then ballot belts. These belts are similar to the rubber belts, except that the ballet gum is used in place of rubber. These belts are acid proof, waterproof, and it is not affected by the animal oil or alkalines. These belts should not be used temperature over than 40 degree, because in this temperature the ballet gum is begin to soften and becomes sticky. The strength of the pallet belt is 25% higher than that of rubber belt. So this is a good advantage where the temperature is very low. Okay, and that condition we can use such type of belts. Now, what could be the working strength while designing the belts? The ultimate strength of the leather varies from 21 to 31 megapascal, and generally the factor of safety is considered is 8 to 10. However, the wear life of the belt is more important than the actual strength, and it has shown that by experience that the under the average condition an allowable strength of 2.3 megapascal or less than will be responsible for belt life, and the allowable strength which is considered for design is 1.75, may be expected to it can be worked for 15 years. That is life of belt will be expected for 15 years. Okay, so it is very important to design based on the strength, because we know that we can use belt for long run. It is not such that we are using for a particular 1 year and 2 year, because these belt drives and all the drives, it should be with less maintenance so that it can reduce the penny. Okay, so whenever we are going to design any kind of belt, we should go for long life. The density of the materials, based on the materials, the properties, you can say density, mass density, which is shown in a table. First one is a leather having density up to 1000. Canvas, it having 1220 kg per meter cube. Rubber is 1140. Ballet having 1110. Single oven belt, that is 1170. Double oven belt is at 1250. So the lightweight belt as compared to the, or you can say mass density of the material is leather, which is 1000. Okay, and which could be lighter one which is available. Now next, belt speed. It can be seen that the speed of the belt increases, the centrifugal force also get increased, which tries to pulley the belt away from the pulley. Pull the belt away from pulley. That is called as a run out, which will result in a decrease in power transmission by belt. And it could be found that the efficient transmission of the power belt speed, that is called as the speed range of the efficient power transmission. A belt speed is 20 meter per second to 22.5 meter per second. Okay, if we are using flat belt drive or different type of belt drives. So this is a standard and efficient belt drive system which we can use. Okay, I hope you have understood the basic funda of how, where, and what type of belt drives we are generally use. What are the different application conditions where we can use? Okay, so remaining part of the theory will be continued in our next lecture. Okay, if you have any doubt, you can feel free to ask me. You can WhatsApp me, you can call me or email me. Okay, um, the theory notes of this lecture will be given into description. Link of the lecture will be given in description box, so you can refer that theory notes. Thank you.